Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our Ring of Honor show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's jump right into the ring. First match tonight we have Tadarius Thomas versus Matt Briscoe in a match that's being billed as Capoeira versus Redneck Kung Fu. Really cool little match. Out of the matches, the three matches that happened on the show, this was my favorite. I thought it was very cool at the Mark Briscoe picks up the win with the froggy bow. After the match, Tadarius offers his hand for the handshake. Mark Briscoe bows. Kind of going with the theory. I like the interaction. It was almost a karate fight in a way, I guess. And not like a UFC, but more like a Karate Kid style karate fight, if you know what I mean. Hopefully I didn't overanalyze that bit too much. But yeah, I thought it was a great match, great hot opener. They go a little bit away from what they've been doing with highlighting brand new talent on there. I think this is going to be good. I think Tadarius has a bright future. Mark Briscoe, one of the mainstays of Ring of Honor, one of the guys that the company is built on. So I'd like to see more of this. Maybe a rematch, maybe even a tag team match with Adrenaline Rush versus the Briscoe brothers would be cool as well. Now next up we have Adam Cole coming to the ring to do an interview, wearing his suit, talking about why he did what he did, that he was told to be nice, be respectful, smile, but that really doesn't get you nowhere. So he had to do something that you've never do before. To get somewhere that you've never been before, you have to do things that you've never done before, as he said, or something of that nature. I just flubbed it all up, so I could be totally wrong, but it was along that gist. Starts talking, talks about the uncrowned champion, so-called, and which brings out Michael Elgin. He slides out of the ring before Elgin could get there, starts backing down the rampway, and ends up backing up, turns around, sees Jay Briscoe. So he runs back, runs through the ring, avoids Elgin, drops the belt. Briscoe and Elgin stand in the ring, have a little stare-off before security comes. Nice way to keep this three-way feud going. I enjoy what they're doing with it. It'll be something to watch going further. The matches between the three, Elgin versus Cole, Cole versus Briscoe, Briscoe versus Elgin, I think are going to be good. And even a three-way match would be good between the three. So I think this is a nice little feud to go, especially building your world championship around. Now speaking of feuds, we had Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis, and they were wrestling Michael Bennett's former trainer and manager, Brutal Bob, and Cheeseburger. This feud's been a little bit off and on, hot and cold, ever since Bennett dropped Brutal Bob, because Brutal Bob was saving Cheeseburger from an attack. But it was good. Cheeseburger got a little bit of offense in. He has a very good connection with the crowd. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's about 130 pounds and everybody wants to root for the underdog, which, nothing wrong with that. Capitalize on that, Cheeseburger. Make something out of that. I think his passion shines through, and Brutal Bob is the perfect guy to put him with, a guy that's been wrestling for 20 years. He could teach a kid a lot. He obviously, in his time with Mike Bennett, taught Michael Bennett a lot as well. Bennett and Maria pick up the win. Kind of knew it was going to go that route. After the match, Bennett cuts a promo talking about injuring B.J. Whitmer, putting him out, and then he was going to give the pile driver to Cheeseburger when we hear Kevin Steen's music. Prefaced by saying that Bennett says he has the best pile driver in wrestling. And therefore we hear Kevin Steen's music. Kevin Steen comes out mic in hand, says he has no problem with what Bennett did to B.J. Whitmer. B.J. knew the risks going in. He said, and what he was about to do to Cheeseburger, he really doesn't have a problem with either. But he does have a problem with him lying, saying that his pile driver is the best in the business. Let him drop him on the head and see what happens. Steen gets into the ring. Steen pretty much says, you're out here talking all this, but when you broke BJ's neck, you were in the background like a bitch, which leads to Maria smacking Steen, Steen and Bennett getting a little bit of an altercation before security and other wrestlers come out to break it up. I thought it was a good little way to move Bennett into a more serious feud. Him and Kevin Steen should be a great feud going forward, especially even if just for the mic work that these two will be able to do with each other. Their matches are going to be great as well, but I like where they're going with that as well. Takes Kevin Steen away from the title picture, but also puts him in an important feud. It brings Bennett up against a guy that's been firmly entrenched in the title picture for the last 2-3 years. So I like what they're doing with this. Now, coming off of that, we had Steve Corino try to jump on commentary with Kevin Kelly and Prince Nana. Again, he's told he can't. He goes in the ring, talks about having a contract, leaves the ring with, when Nigel McGuinness comes up, leaves his contract in the ring. Nigel picks up the contract and looks at it. Maybe we'll see a return of Steve Corino. I'd really enjoy that. I thought he was great on commentary with Kevin Kelly. I thought he made Kevin Kelly better. I don't think Kevin Kelly's not a terrible announcer, but he's not a great announcer either. He's someone that's just there. He's never going to make a good match great, and he's never going to make a good match bad. He'll keep it right at the level it is. Whereas someone like Jim Ross, Gordon Soley, Joey Styles, Gorilla Monsoon, Tony Schiavone, even to a certain degree, could take a good match and make it great just by the way they called it. And I think that Ring of Honor, that's one of the things they're really lacking. The good color commentator in Corino, I'm not saying that Prince Nana is bad, but he's not as good as Steve Corino is. Helps that out. It helps to have a good antagonist to a good protagonist. Think about, like I said, like JR was at his best with Jerry the King Lawler. Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon. Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura. You always have that good interaction between the heel and the face commentators. Cyrus the Virus and Joey Styles, another great example. Joey was great on his own. Cyrus and Joey was even better. But coming off of that, we have our main event of the night, a 3-way tag team championship match. Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander, the CNC Wrestle Factory, versus the Forever Hooligans, Alex Kozlov and Rocky Romero, versus Red Dragon, which is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Decent match. I think it could have been given a little bit more time. I think it was a little bit too much to try and fit into the time constraints they gave. I think it was given about 15 to 20 minutes on the show. Red Dragon picks up the win, as they should. I think Red Dragon's the best tag team that Ring of Honor's got. However, after the match, we see Outlaw Inc. run out to the ring, which, if you don't know, is Homicide and Eddie Kingston. They reiterate the challenge they made last week to Red Dragon for the tag team championships. So we'll see where that goes going forward. Homicide, I think Homicide's at his best when he's part of a tag team, and Eddie Kingston is one of the great independent talents in America at this time. He's someone that's so highly underrated, in my opinion. He's a wonderful talker, a tremendous brawler, and a really solid in-ring technician as well. He knows how to tell a story and tell it well. Hopefully we get a Red Dragon versus the Outlaw Inc. feud or match in the near future. I would love to see it. I think it would be something great for the fans as well as the company. But coming off of that, we're going to go right into our ratings. Now, if you've seen the show before, we have a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm going to give this show a solid 4. I didn't really find anything I didn't like on this show. I can't put a thing and point out and say this is bad. Tadarius Thomas versus Mark Briscoe was excellent. The Cole interaction with Elgin and Jay Briscoe I thought was good, helped further that feud. Bennett and Maria's match with the Brutal Bob and Cheeseburger and the interaction with Steen afterwards was good. Corino coming back potentially, another good thing. The only thing that stopped it from being a 5 instead of a 4, in my opinion, was the fact that the three-way tag match seemed a little bit rushed. That they didn't get enough time to get in what they really wanted to. But other than that, really solid show. Another great solid effort by what I would say is the best wrestling television show in America right now, and that's Ring of Honor Wrestling. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles. This has been another episode of Heel Heat.